Do you love TV shows? We do too. Hello, everyone. I'm Jeff.
And I'm Anna, and we're the hosts of We Judge a Show by Its Pilot, a podcast hosted by us, a married couple with an endless love for TV.
Whether you're searching for a new favorite series or ready to revisit an old classic, we're here to guide you through an infinite world of TV shows.
Each episode, we watch and discuss the pilot for shows, while also sharing personal stories that parallel the storyline.
So if you're tired of endlessly scrolling and not sure what to watch next, tune in and let us do the searching for you.
We Judge a Show by Its Pilot. New episodes every Tuesday and Friday, wherever you get your podcasts.
Your new favorite show is just one click away. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our pod.
Hello. Happy Hump Day.
Happy Hump Day.
It's Wednesday, but not probably when you're listening, unless maybe it is. So you never know.
So this is our first week with our one episode a week, I'm pretty sure. And so we have themes until the end of the year. We're all set. Really excited about to get into all that. I don't know why I'm talking about that right now. I've been awake for maybe like an hour. So
I woke up to a slew of emails that looked like fires were set. So I got up around 7:45-ish.
Gotcha.
8 o'clock. You just got up a little bit ago.
Yeah. So speaking of, we do a podcast about TV shows, and the Emmy nominations came out yesterday. Yeah. And it's a lot of the same. It's a lot of the, if we were literally just talking about this before we started recording, that, people are like, oh, this show got snubbed, this actor got snubbed, and both of our replies to that are, how can you get upset when there are a million TV shows right now? They can't all be nominated.
Especially now.
Right.
Like, I mean, I think back to when it was mostly network television being nominated. Yeah. And of course there were the hot shows that you were like, oh, of course. I mean, that's like the most popular show. And then came cable. You had your HBO and Showtime, which initially we've talked about were just reshowing of movies. I mean, it was home box office. It was, you were watching movies at home. But then they started their original series shows, and then they started getting nominated. And then the networks felt like they were being snubbed because they could be edgier and a little bit sexier and whatnot. But now you've got Netflix, Hulu, Prime, Paramount, Tubi, Peacock. I mean, like all these, even though there's some tied to network, a lot are independent, that are coming up with their own original content. And I mean, I don't even think we could count how many current streaming TV shows there are right now.
Oh yeah. I mean, there are some, there are so many of them that they only did one season and then they kind of just disappear. I mean, they kind of just like disappeared.
Well, that and now it's really hard to track the timing of shows. And I know that these awards go like in a certain time frame. So like, I'll use Stranger Things as an example. Like they don't start until like October or something. So do they qualify or will they wait until next year? And then by next year's nominations, because they finished in like January, maybe people forgot about them. So, I mean, those are like, to me, other issues that a lot of these shows suffer from because they're on weird time schedules. So, it's hard. And you hear about this a lot, not just in like entertainment, like television and movies, because you hear the same thing for the Oscars and Golden Globes. But then, I mean, I just saw it for things like, Major League Baseball, the All-Star game, who got snubbed, who, is the best person. But I mean, when you leave those things to like the fans voting, it's who the most popular player is on the most popular team, whether they're good or not. And, it happens for the Pro Bowl, the NBA, All-Star game, and so on and so on. You can't have everyone. You can't nominate everyone. I say just be happy that you have a job that you enjoy doing. And I
don't think it's so much the actors that are complaining. I think it's the fans that are I'm sure there are plenty of actors that like are like, well, they have to be like sore losers about it, but I will say it is vastly majority of it are just the fans that are upset because their favorite didn't get nominated.
But I will tell you on Instagram, Anna Camp, who we both love, Pitch Perfect, True Blood.
And what has she been in?
That show You, where she plays sisters.
Man, no one cares about that show anymore.
Oh my God. Well, she claims that it was like the best work of her life and she got snubbed. There was a post on Instagram about it. So it's even the stars. They campaign these days.
And I would never in a million years complain if I didn't get nominated. Even if I was on I guess we can call You a hit show because I'm sure it still has its audience, but God, I didn't even know that show was still going.
Yeah, and so that's what I'm saying. It's like, because who knows what, there's no schedule of shows anymore.
Right.
And so that's what's also hard. Like, I forgot about that show too, and that, you know.
I think we watched the first season and that was it.
Yeah. So
yeah, Severance is getting nominated for a bunch of stuff. White Lotus. I think like the entire cast of White Lotus is getting nominated. Like Carrie Coon, Parker Posey, Natasha Rothwell, Amy Lou Wood are all getting nominated for White Lotus. Supporting actor, we have Walton Goggins, Jason Isaacs, and
Sam Rockwell,
yeah. And then like the entire cast of Severance is getting nominated. Like it is The Bear, Hacks, Abbott Elementary. Like it is all the same shows that are getting nominated every year, but I mean, those are the most popular. Those are the shows that everyone talks about. Like, everyone gets pumped up when a new season of White Lotus gets announced. Everyone's just dying to see the cast. Everyone wants to know who's going to be grouped with who, what the location's going to be, who's going to be the returning characters, because that's a recurring theme. Like, and I mean, there are so many other great shows out there, and just because they're not being nominated, that doesn't make them any less good. I think that's what I get annoyed with, is because fans, that's why I was talking about the fans, because actors, I can see why an actor would be annoyed if they didn't get nominated, and I'm sure people were like talking them up, telling them what they wanted to hear. That's what you do with famous people, and so when they don't get nominated, they're like, but I've been praised for this, like, why am I not being nominated? It's very bratty, but like I can understand why they do it. But the fans, it's just like, that doesn't mean the show's not good. It just didn't get nominated. Like Skins never got nominated for Emmy. Like, you know, some of my favorite shows never got nominated for anything. Man, Scrubs got snubbed every single year it was out, and that show is huge. So I mean, like, it's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Enjoy your show. Honestly, I think it's better when movies and shows don't get nominated for stuff, because that actually means that they're good. And when like whatever wins Best Picture in the Oscars, people are always like, that didn't deserve the win. I'm like, cool. That means that like all the movies that I like that could have been not worthy of an Oscar, they're not going to get nominated. That means that they're good. Well, in my opinion.
Well, that, and 10 years from now, they're not going to go back and trash it again, because I mean, I can think of all the like articles that around the time that the Oscars come out and they talk about Best Actor or Best Picture or Best Actress, and they were like, why did this win?
Yeah, I think everything with Amelia Perez, everyone is like, how did that win? Because apparently that movie was like borderline offensive. So
yeah, I never saw it.
I never really had an interest in seeing it. It looked honestly kind of dumb, so like I was just kind of like I was never like, hey, let's watch this. And then I'm floored that Zoe Saldana won an Oscar.
I mean, love her.
We love
She's
her.
My fave.
Center Stage and Guardians of the Galaxy and so many other things, and she's awesome. It's just interesting that like she won and critics were praising this film, but as soon as people saw it, they were like, this movie's like transphobic and it's really offensive towards like Mexican Americans, and oh well, it's gonna win a bunch of awards. I mean, it's just kind of how it goes sometimes. Mikey Madison winning for Anora. No one's gonna be that's like our generation's. No offense, I love Mikey Madison, but like that's like gonna be our generation's.
She shouldn't have won for this.
Yeah, what was the My Cousin Vinny actress?
Oh, Marissa Tomei.
The one that like everyone was like, what?
Like they thought they read the name wrong on the card. Yeah. But I mean, I'll actually say I love Marissa Tomei in that movie.
Oh yeah, it was just her winning. Everyone was like, "What?" It was even when I was a kid and she won. I remember everyone like being really confused by it. That's what I think Mikey Madison is going to be. Everyone's going to look back and be like, "She won for that." It's going to be one of those kind of things.
And then to top it off, it's also I'm going to say this. I don't know how nominations are done and then how the winners are actually picked. But then to come off the heels of the Oscars this year specifically, what we found out was the voters aren't even required to watch all the shows.
Yeah, that was a mind blow.
All the movies. And so you're like, how do you vote on something? I mean, obviously, we have lots of elections where people don't know anything and they still vote. But I just am like, yeah, it seems sketch. I mean, we could have a whole conversation on whether or not these awards are even like still something worthy of happening. I mean, it's essentially the industry patting themselves on the back to get dressed up and get themselves, treats and prizes and trips and things. So, anywho.
Yeah.
But yeah. Happy hump day.
Happy hump day. Happy whatever day you're listening to this on. So we are continuing UK month with a show that neither one of us had ever seen before. A show that I think I would always get mixed up with another show that's not a UK show. But today we're doing Fleabag, which I used to get mixed up with Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
Oh.
I used to get those two shows mixed up, and I have no idea why. They're set in completely different time periods on different countries, like completely different cast. I don't know why I always thought that, because I've never seen either show before. So yeah. I thought Fleabag was about a comedian trying to make it big. I thought Marvelous Mrs. Maisel was about a woman navigating single. Like, I thought they were just the different plot. But we watched this for the first time, and we both really liked it. We'll get into that in a minute. But for now, Anna's going to give us some episode and series information.
All right. Fleabag, Episode 1. Fleabag was a British comedy drama series that ran on BBC Three from July 21st, 2016 to April 8th, 2019 for 2 seasons and a total of 12 episodes. The series was created by Phoebe Waller-Bridge, a comedic actress and writer. The idea for Fleabag was derived from a sketch Waller-Bridge created during the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, where she was challenged to create a 10-minute sketch in a stand-up storytelling format. Fleabag revolves around a woman nicknamed Fleabag, a free-spirited but angry and confused woman trying to navigate her personal and love life in London. The series stars Phoebe Waller-Bridge as Fleabag, I think it's Sean Clifford as Claire, Fleabag's sister. Recurring cast includes Hugh Skinner, Fleabag's longtime on-off boyfriend, Ginny Rainsford as Boo, Fleabag's deceased best friend and former business partner, Bill Patterson as Fleabag and Claire's father, known only as Dad, Olivia Colman as Fleabag and Claire's godmother and stepmother, known only as Godmother, Brett Gelman as Martin, Claire's American husband, Hugh Dennis as bank manager, Fleabag's loan officer, Ben Aldridge as Arsehole Guy, one of Fleabag's friends with benefits, known for his preference for a little anal sex, a little anal sex, as they say in the movie Good Guys.
Good Boys.
Good Boys. Whoops.
Good Guys is no, Bad Guys is what I'm thinking of. Like, that's a kid's movie.
Yeah. Fleabag was an instant hit and was praised by critics and audiences for its clever humor, unique way of storytelling, and accurate portrayal of single life for women in the modern era. You can currently watch the entire series on Prime Video.
So what'd you think of the pilot?
I really liked it because you just got thrown into the chaos of her life with her sister, her hookups, her job, the little restaurant that she tries to run.
Yeah.
I mean, just the stuff with her, is it dad and stepmother or whichever one it is. I lose track of kind of all the characters. But yes, I liked it because it was a lot and you just kind of were like, I have to see where this goes.
Right.
Like, what else is going to happen in this woman's life?
Right.
Yeah. What did you think?
I really liked it. I love, there's just something charming about a main character that breaks the fourth wall and talks to us directly. I've always been a big fan of that. It doesn't always work, but it seems to really work with this because, it's less that she's telling us, and it's more of like this is her inner monologue, and like I love that.
Yeah.
I love that she'll be like in the middle of having sex and she'll just turn over, look at the camera, and just start talking to the audience.
Yeah.
I love that.
It's very Sex in the City first season, but like good. Yeah.
Good, but good. First season wasn't that bad.
It wasn't, but
it wasn't the show.
It didn't work for the show.
It wasn't.
This works.
Right. It made it less. Yeah. It made it a lot more. You feel like you're going to kind of, no matter what, you're going to kind of always side with the main character, because she's the narrator and she's the one that we're kind of taking her word for it. We're seeing everything through her point of view. I loved that. We both loved that the sister was from Young Woman in the Sea. She was the swim coach.
Yes,
because we both love that movie.
I love that.
But yeah, I really liked it. I thought it was very different. I thought it was, I kind of was, once I kind of learned what it was about, fully what it was about, and I had the right show, I was kind of like, oh, it's going to be another, like, Emily in Paris, Sex in the City, single life for a young woman, and, that's been done to death, and sometimes they can pull it off, sometimes they don't. A lot of times it's just more of the same, but with this, it felt a lot more rooted in reality. I really love, because we've talked about this before, women for some reason do this. They nickname all of their guys, like they nickname all of their hookups. And when I was going through the kind of the cast list and the character names, like 75% of the characters don't have real names.
Yeah.
Even dad and godmother, I think like Fleabag isn't even her real name. I think we get a real name out of like Martin, her sister Claire, and then the ex-boyfriend. Like, I think that those are the only people that have like actual names, like real names, which I think is kind of interesting and unique in that sense. But would you continue watching? I mean, it's 12 episodes. I mean,
I've wanted to keep watching.
Yeah, I think we watched the second episode, and then of course, we always have shows to watch, so we can't, unless we like have some free time, we really won't kind of continue watching a show, or we'll kind of get to it, but it'll just take us a long time.
Episodes, yeah. And then we find something else new, which I've already found something for my birthday month next year that will happen. So, yeah.
But yeah, I would want to keep watching too. I mean, it's 12 episodes. I don't think the episodes are longer than like 30 minutes.
Yeah, that's the other thing that I do like, is that it's like 30 minutes, fast and dirty, and you can get through them.
Exactly. Okay, so this is all about being single and about dating and meeting the preferred gender that you are attracted to. Yep. And so we have been together for a long time.
8 years, almost 9.
We've been together for almost 9 years, and we've known each other for over 9 years. We met each other through a dating app when we were single, but I would argue that even though it doesn't seem that long ago, things have changed so much.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And this came out like right around the time where we met each other, because it's July 2016. We met in June. So what was dating life like for you before we met?
Okay. So I'm going to go kind of in stages of like my single woman life. So like I can even go back to like high school. Like obviously being single in high school is normal. Like, I mean, unless you have like a long-term boyfriend from that time, which many people do. I did not. So like being single in high school is like always just like traumatic and dramatic. There are the makeups and the breakups and whatnot. But then moving into college, being single, I felt was like a time for exploring who you were and what you were looking for in a partner. And I really don't think you know what that is yet. And again, mad props to those who can marry their high school sweetheart, that they've been through it when college. And I kind of see a lot of kids these days, and, I work with the sorority chapters at my universities where they have been with the same guy since like junior high. And I'm like, how do you even know? Like, I don't know. That to me is crazy because again, I've not really had a lot of long-term boyfriends. I've just dated 1 or 2 dates a lot. So dating in college was, again, just by, to me, happenstance. If you met at a fraternity house, if you met at a sorority party, or if you had a class with someone, or you just saw them in the bar. So that was how you met people to me back when I was in college in the late 80s, early 90s. Then you're transported into, I will say, like the mid 90s, late 90s, early 2000s with the evolution of things like chat rooms and AOL chat and Messenger and things like that. And you could kind of meet someone technology wise. And, I will say in law school, I met a couple of people that way. During law school, you would just start talking to people and offer to meet up at a coffee shop or something. Because I was going to law school parties and stuff. Yeah. But after college, and I know people will think I'm crazy when I say this, after college, I wanted like a really fresh start in law school. And I was like, I don't want to date anyone in law school. Yeah. I don't want to kind of commingle my professional future with my law school classmates. There was one exception. I did go out with one guy and it was the biggest mistake. And I always beat myself up for not following my own rules. So then I moved to Seattle, which again was difficult because there was AOL chat, but I didn't feel safe in necessarily using it as a tool to meet people because I didn't know my way around Seattle that much. And so I didn't know if a location was safe or if it was a place that, was a good place to meet someone. Yeah. The one only guy that I really dated in Seattle, I met at a bookstore, and it was kind of like in Seattle, a lot of bookstores at least used to have like couch areas and lounge areas where you could bring your coffee or get coffee and sit and read books and just start naturally talking to people. Of course, he ended up being kind of a loser, druggy guy, so that didn't help the situation. Yeah. Then I moved back, and then there was the evolution of Facebook and dating apps in the mid 2010s. And that is how I met you. But I mean, dating apps were kind of just an advancement of things like AOL chat, AOL Messenger, and stuff like that, chat rooms. But I'm a big believer in, I feel like you can use those apps to meet people. You just have to set your boundaries and your parameters. Like I don't know if I've mentioned, I was very firm on when I would start messaging someone that I didn't want nude photos to be sent to me or requested of me. It was nothing I ever sent or requested because I do use my work phone for my personal use as well. So there is nothing scandalous on my work phone. And so I just feel like dating apps, to me, I did meet a lot of people through them and went out on dates. I would oftentimes bring one of the friends with me to meet someone on a first date. So that was kind of a new evolution that I always felt safe with. I did not bring a friend on the first night I met you, but I felt like you had given me a lot of information that was true. Like you told me where you worked, and I could have gone there if I'd wanted to see you, but I didn't. I waited until we decided to meet in person.
That was really nice of you.
But
to do that.
But I did go soon after and did bring the friends with me, and so I feel like technology has really advanced dating. I will say, I don't think it's made it easier, though. I feel like sometimes it's a little more complicated than meeting someone in a bar going like, hey, because also now technology, you can go on a deep dive, like looking up their personal information, arrest records, property, job information, LinkedIn, all their different profiles on various Facebook, Twitter, X. Instagram, TikTok. I mean, you can go down all these rabbit holes, and I don't know if that helps you or hurts you, because so many people post in so many different ways these days.
It's called history versus mystery.
Yeah.
And I that is something that has been more or less a thing that's happened pretty much in the last decade, where you kind of take their word for it on what they do for a living, their dating history, what they do on a daily basis. Do you kind of take that at face value, or do you go and learn everything you can about them? And that's kind of just the whole idea of, it's safer to learn their history, but does it also kind of take away the excitement of meeting them for the first time, or does it take away the excitement of dating them because they're going to tell you all these things? You're going to be in the back of your head, you're going to be like, oh, I already know that. And that's kind of the risk that you take when you do a deep dive on someone before you meet them. I'm all about safety. I'm all about safety and making sure, if you have the tools if you have the access to make sure that they're maybe not a criminal, or they don't have outstanding fines or warrants or something like that. I think that is safe. And just making sure that they are being honest about what they do for a living, because I think I've definitely had women that have lied about being employed. I've had women that have lied about other things, and in the back of my brain I was like, I really should have done some research before I met this person. But also, I want to know enough to feel safe, but not enough to where I won't be bored during our first date, because I'm not going to be like, I know that already, because I lurked on your social media.
Well, and I think there's some other things that can be said for social media, even once you've moved forward with dating someone. And we've seen it recently with someone we know who has dated a friend of ours, where their new girlfriend has sort of semi-stalked his past girlfriend, who was our friend. And just the craziness of that, because that person is a little cuckoo.
Right.
And you're just like, how much do you want to put out there about a relationship? Because you and I probably early on would post selfies of us a little bit, if we were traveling, or if we, you came to an AO Pie walk with me, we took a picture, I probably posted it. But you and I do not post a lot of pictures of ourselves or of one another too often. Even early in our relationship, it wasn't a daily thing. It wasn't oh, we're at this restaurant, or we're hanging out with these friends. I mean, we may have done a movie check-in or something, but we weren't constantly also posting photos of ourselves. And I'm not saying that you're a bad person if you do, more power to you. But I also feel like social media sometimes brings a lot of judgment or speculation or gossip about your relationship when you do that.
Right.
So,
well, the thing with social media and the thing with people is that if you post a bunch of selfies or pictures with you and your spouse, people think that you're being performative. But if you don't do it at all, people think you're trying to hide something. Right. So it's
exactly.
So you kind of have to always, I mean, unless you just don't give two shits about what people think of you, which you should. But if you are concerned with other people's thoughts, you kind of have to find a healthy median with that. And I feel like that's nearly impossible, because everyone's gonna, they posted their thing about their trip 3 days in a row. They're trying to cover something.
They're trying hard.
They're trying too hard. They're being a try hard. That's what you'll hear a lot. And I don't think it's necessarily fair, but I understand, because I think we're all guilty of doing that. I think we're all kind of guilty of when someone posts something, and maybe if you have some intel already about their relationship or their lives, then you kind of know, you're like, oh, they're just trying to save face. Or, did they do this before or after they got into their big fight? You kind of always once you kind of know their relationship, it's really hard not to judge them. It's kind of hard not to have, I hate saying judge. Judge always feels so harsh.
That's hard, yeah.
Speculate, I think, might be the same exact word, but I mean, it just sounds nicer.
Well, I'll
because
say
you can kind of, yeah.
You and I both had very different social media presences when we met. You would post stuff about the apartment or about George's, but you weren't posting every single day. I posted
pictures of Maggie. I think that was like my main thing.
Yes. And I posted a lot more about like my walking or my travel or crazy law students.
A lot of AOPI stuff.
My crazy HOA. Maybe a selfie if it was like New Year's Eve and I was going out or we were on a girls trip in the Bahamas. But I am not big on posting like full on shots of you and I like kissing and hugging and groping one another. Ours are mostly like you and I with a self shot of like some monument behind us or something, like of some place where we are.
Statue of Liberty, or for going to the Sanger, and it's a show that we both really want to see.
Like in front of the step and repeat. Yeah, something like that. It's like some sort of like special thing, and not that all of our other times aren't special. It's like I don't feel a need to document every moment I'm with you.
And that's exactly what it is. When you have nothing to prove, or when you feel like you have nothing to prove, then it shows. Like, and I mean that in the best way possible, because I feel like you and I have a very healthy relationship. I feel like you and I have a very, I don't want to say boring, but very like normal relationship. I mean, like boring always sounds like an insult, but I definitely mean it as a good thing, because our lives aren't full of drama. And a lot of people would perceive that as boring. But yeah, so for me, I kind of grew up in the AOL era, especially when I started dating. I would say high school. I'll start with high school because anything before that's just kind of irrelevant. But even high school was irrelevant. But so when I started at Woodlawn, I didn't really know anybody, and so I tried to find people on AOL, because you could search people's usernames. You can search like the city they live in. You can search them through like the high school they go to, if they put that in their profile.
Oh yeah.
And so I tried to find people. First, I tried to find people who went to Woodlawn already and could give me advice on which building is which. What do I do? What do I do on my first? I mean, there was like 7 or 8 different buildings at Woodlawn. It was a fairly big open, flooring, and it was like an open layout where it was just like there were 6 buildings that were all connected by like these covered
like breezeways.
I almost said portico. And so it was just very confusing to do it that way. But then I also used AOL as a way to, if there was a girl that I liked, I would try to find her on AOL and then like talk to her through AOL. So it was kind of pre-dating apps, but it was definitely during the era of people kind of getting to know each other through the internet, and I always felt more comfortable with typing and with texting. I think most people do, but I would use AOL as a means to not just meet a potential girl. I used it to make friends. Like, I did it because I didn't know anybody at my school. But as I got older, so I was in a relationship from age 17 to 20. I was in a relationship. So kind of my college age years, and you can go to college at any point in your adulthood, but I mean like my late teens and early 20s, I was in a relationship. And then right after that, up until, I'm going to be completely honest, up until I moved back from Florida to Baton Rouge, every girlfriend that I had, I knew them. I had met them in, like, it was through work, or it was through like
that's what I was going to say. Yours was very work oriented. Yeah.
So when I lived in Destin, I remember trying to meet people through MySpace.
Oh wow.
And it was pretty. I was, pretty successful in like just meeting people. And then so I would date. I'm trying to think. Like when I moved back to Baton Rouge, that was when I started. That was the first time I used any type of like, it was dating websites is what it was back then. Some of them were free, some of them weren't. The one that I used was free. That was the LA Singles thing. I've talked about that on here before. Which was, if I were just like, I remember thinking this, if I was like if I would have done that, I mean, obviously I'm at age 40, I'm happily married, but I remember thinking this when I was young, if I were 40 and doing this would be a blast. Like, I would love this, but everyone was like so much older than me in the group. There was maybe like a few people in my age range, but they were all the girls were interested in the older guys. So it was just kind of like, okay. And all of the older women were just kind of interested in also the older guys. So it was just kind of like, it was pre-Cougar Cub era. Like, it was kind of before that became like a trend. But it was interesting. Oh, it was hair. I thought you spilled coffee on yourself. Oh. I was like, how are you not reacting to that?
I'm shedding.
Oh, yeah. I go to work and I have little pieces of you all over my shirt, and I find them all the time. Oh. So when I started doing dating websites, I would say from about 2008 to 2012, I think, was when I would use dating websites, not necessarily apps. I didn't have a smartphone until 2012 or 13 or something like that. I really held on to my BlackBerry. I refused to give it up. I loved that phone so much. Anyway, so when I started using, there was this other dating app called Scout.
Oh.
Skout. And I would use that a lot because it was free. And the thing with that is that that was when I noticed. So when I started going on different dating websites, I would start seeing the same people. Like, I would just see the same women. So it was like, okay, that I always thought that was interesting, but I went through a really long period of time where I would just talk to so many women, and it was just so hard to. I think I know why dating apps are so hard for people, because it's like, especially when you're single and especially when you don't know what you want, you just kind of become addicted to your dating app. You kind of become addicted to like meeting people, because it's like, oh, I really like this person. I wonder if there's someone I'm even more compatible with. Like, that's kind of the mentality that I gained after a while, because I was single. I was so new to this type of technology that I was kind of like always looking for something better than who I was talking to. And not that any of the women that I talked to were like below standards or anything. It was just me kind of not knowing.
If I met one person, there might be more.
Right. And it was like, oh, well, there must be someone more compatible, because, there are X amount of people in this world. How can just one person be my perfect match? I probably have like 20 or 30 or 50 or 100 perfect matches.
Right.
And so I reached a point to where I kind of hated dating apps for a while. And then I was in a relationship that was with Mary Jo. And then when she passed away, I kind of jumped back on dating apps, because I met Mary Jo in person. We were former coworkers. And I got back on the dating apps, and that was when I was like, that was such a short period of time in between, but it had changed so much.
Oh, like, it's changed even now.
Oh, I know. And like, the interesting thing about like, I think I went back on Scout, then I had Plenty of Fish, OkCupid, and then maybe another one. I would see the same 20 women. Like, it was just, and none of them were responding to my messages. So it was just kind of like.
Then I did.
You did. And so I have a couple of stories that I wanted to talk about. What?
Well, I just wanted to say, to me, one of the biggest differentiators from when you and I when we met in 2016, we got married in 2017.
Yes.
Is that the apps were all free.
Yeah.
I mean, they all charge a monthly fee now. I'm fairly positive. And so, and even for the base level, it's like $9 a month, which, I mean, is minimal. I mean, that's like a cocktail going out once. But when you're on 5 different apps, that starts to add up. So, I mean, it's really changed a lot since 2016.
Oh, big time.
And I know I would stop paying. I would have stopped paying for stuff like that. I was only on things that were free back in the day. But anyway, tell me your stories.
Okay, so my first question that I have for you, and if you can think of it off the top of your head, then great. But if you need me to tell the story, and so while you think of an answer,
okay.
Was there ever a time where you were talking to someone on a dating app? It was before y'all had met. Maybe it was like the first couple of conversations, one of the first of few conversations that y'all had, where you said something or you were doing something, and their response, it doesn't even have to be in response to something that you said, just in general. Did they ever say anything like so outrageous that you were like, I'm done here? Like it was just like an immediate deal breaker of something that they said.
I'm really trying to think. I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but
I'm going to tell you the most outrageous thing. Actually, no, there are two times. I just thought of the second one. I'll tell the first one right now. So this was at the very beginning of me doing dating apps. So that would have been 2014, maybe.
Okay.
2014. Yeah. And I just started on dating apps, and this woman had messaged me, which, for those of you who don't know, for that to happen, for a girl to message a guy on a dating app, at least for me, never really happened that much. I think women are so bombarded by...
I was always waiting for someone to message me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think women are always so bombarded by men because there are so many more men than women on dating apps. Anyway, so this is the very beginning. I don't know which app I was on, but a woman had messaged me, and she seemed... We live in a very conservative, Southern Baptist, religious, Bible Belt kind of area, and you'll hear a lot of wild things that they say because they're just some of those types of people. I'm not saying that in a derogatory sense. I'm just saying that in a general sense, are very naive when it comes to certain things, and the things that they say, they don't realize how offensive it is. So this woman messaged me, and I was already kind of getting the vibe that, like, we're not going to match. We're not match worthy. I think she's just kind of throwing out a wide net kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so maybe it was like maybe our first or second conversation, and she was like, "What are you doing?" And I was just like, "Oh, I'm cleaning my apartment right now." And she was like, I can't believe I'm about to say this. She's like, "You're cleaning?" And I'm like, "Yeah." She was like, "Are you gay?" I was just like, "What?" It's just like, that's your conclusion? I was like, only gay guys want to clean? She's like, "I've never known a straight guy who cleans their place." And I'm just like, we're done here. I was just like, I'm never talking to you. I didn't say this, but I was just like, oh, I think I just really wrote, "Okay, we're done here." I was just saying something like that. And then I remember her response being like, you wouldn't get so upset if you had nothing to hide or something like that. I'm like, you're a weirdo. I was like, I'm out of here.
And that's so funny because I had the complete opposite reaction when I first came to your apartment because it was so clean. Mm-hmm. I was just like, oh my gosh.
I lived in an apartment with 2 smokers and a dog, and for somehow I managed to have that place smelling okay, and I managed to keep it clean all the time.
You did. And I remember thinking, like, as I knew you were a smoker, and I knew you had Maggie, and that she was not little. She was a horse, practically. And I remember thinking, like, I know I'm not going to be able to stay here. I know I'm going to come over, and it's going to reek of smoke, which I did not smoke. But I walked in, and I was like, you had cleaned and vacuumed and dusted, and there was a candle going, and I was like, if I didn't know you were a smoker, I wouldn't know you were a smoker. Yeah. And I was actually very impressed because there are a lot of guys who don't give a shit about what their apartment looks like. And, anyway, so that's funny. Not funny, but sad that that was her conclusion about you. But
so the second one I kind of have with that was there was a girl that I was talking to. I don't remember when it was, but I was talking to a girl. We were around the same age. And some of the things that she would say, I would just be like, is this person for real? Obviously, this is, once again, before Catfish was a thing. But, like, before Catfish was a TV show and it had, like, a term. But it was like, we would talk and she would just say, I think she was just saying things that she thought, like, I wanted to hear. And because she didn't know me, she didn't know that, like, I didn't really care to hear whatever she was telling me. She would just say all these random things. She was I'm sure people are like this, but we were like well into our 20s, and she was like, she kept talking about how she was a virgin. And I was just like, that's more power to you. That's fine. I have nothing against that. I just thought it was interesting that she kept saying it. And then she kept telling me that, like, if she was going to ever lose her virginity, it would be to someone like me. And I was just like, we've never met in person. I was like, I find this very odd. And then we were just in the middle of having a conversation, and out of nowhere, she just tells me that she's on the pill. And I'm just like,
oh my God.
I'm just like, okay, like, you know how on Smosh they like, they'll like read Courtney's diary, or they'll read Angela's, they'll do reenactments of like Angela's
high school
AOL instant message group chat. I wish I would have kept this conversation, because me and Jody at work like didn't act it out, but we like read it. Like, we read it. He was me, I was the girl, and we were like reading it to everyone. So this was like a pre-Smosh Pit theater.
I was gonna say theater, George's theater,
George's kitchen theater, and I have a very fond memory of that. But like, it would just be like, Jody would just be like saying like normal things, and I would just be like, I'm on the pill. It would just be like, that's literally, and people were just, and everyone at work was just dying laughing. They're just like, only you, Jeff. And I'm like, no, but yeah, you know, kind of.
And see, like, those as a guy would have made me sus. Like, is she trying to like bait you into like having sex without protection on for like, I don't know. Yeah. Is she diseased? Does she want to try to get pregnant and then trap you? Like, those would be the thoughts if I was a guy. Like,
my instinct was to worry. Like, my instinct was to, but there was a part of me, I was like, I'm never meeting this girl in person. I decided I'm never meeting this girl in person, but I did continue talking to her because I just wanted to see the insanity. I know that's kind of mean. That's kind of mean on my end, but like, I never had any interest in meeting her.
That's why you kept talking to me, because you wanted to see the insanity. I will
how you were back then when we first met versus how you are with me now. You were so, and I think we all are when we first meet people, unless like we really are an unfiltered, don't care person. I think we're all kind of highlight reel version of ourselves. Like, but then because you were very, I would say you were very like reserved. You were very like serious, and it was like the moment you let your wall down, you are the silliest person I've ever met in my life. You're so funny. You're so just unfiltered with the things that you say. You really love saying things to try and make me laugh, and you'll just say the most outrageous thing you could think of, and I laugh every single time. For those of you who think Anna is a normal human being, y'all don't know her well enough. But yeah.
I will say, I think some of the things that I saw in people talking to me was like about what you were saying in the conservative area that we live in. It was a very patriarchal type of like, you know, we'd ask questions and stuff and maybe get to like talking about college or my job. And it was a lot of times like a lot of guys couldn't handle that I had been single for so long and very, self-sufficient, buying my own home, buying my own cars, and traveling on my own, that no one was paying for this for me because there was no daddy taking care of me. My father had long passed away. My mom was a senior citizen who did not work. So no one was giving me this money. And a lot of guys could not handle that. And I remember one guy like kind of talking about, you know, that, if, you know, we ever got together or something, like he would manage the finances. And I was like, okay, this is over. Like whether or not, you know, we both handle it or I handle my own and you handle your own, I'm like, you're not going to tell me what I'm going to do with my money. I mean, we can discuss things. And obviously if we were in a relationship, like I wouldn't be going batshit crazy, but for him to tell me that, and then maybe any other discussion, like I have always said, and I, you know, stood true to this, is even probably back when I was much younger, I never really enjoyed the concept of taking the man's name in marriage. First off, because I do love my last name. I have always loved it ever since I was little, knowing that it means war in Spanish. But when that guy was talking and he was just like, oh, I'm traditional. Like, and I'm like, who defines traditional?
Right.
You know, like, in Spanish speaking countries, you take both names. And so, I just was like, this is over. Like, I don't even need to talk about this any longer because I can't handle that. And like I've said many times before in talking to you, not only did we have common ground in like movies and TV and things we like to do, you were not patronizing to me. You weren't telling me what I needed to do as a person and as a female. You also respected my boundaries when I would lay out like, I don't want dick pics. I'm not sending you booby shots. I'm not, getting in lingerie and sending you pictures like that. And I mean, I think I would actually say that like early on. I'm like, don't ask me for them because I'm not sending them. But also I think I felt like you were very honest about who you were, what you did for a living, your financial background. You were, I think, also initially looking for just maybe new friends, and if it developed into something, then maybe that would have been a bonus. But I don't think you were initially I don't think you were looking to like just be a hookup. No. I mean, I don't think that was initially ever any of our discussions. Because there were a lot of those from people, but you and I think we talked a lot before anything ever happened.
I think there were just times where I would always talk to someone initially because I thought they were attractive and I wanted to get to know them more. But a lot of times I would kind of get to know them and I would just be like, oh, you're not my type. I was just like, oh, you're, and that could have been me just being picky. But like, I think I reached a point where I was just like, I know what I want. I definitely know what I don't want. And if any, I really was one of those people. It was like I kind of got into the habit of like as soon as I saw a red flag, I was done. Like I kind of had reached that point. I was no longer, I think after previous relationships where I stayed longer than I should have, where I ignored all the warning signs, I think that was when I finally decided to be like, as soon as you see that something is wrong, like actually wrong, not like they don't do
toilet
over
paper,
with toilet paper. They do under. Like I wasn't going to be like that, but it was just like a kind of a fundamental thing where I was just like, if there's something that worries me right out of the gate, I'm done. Like, and it's not a judgment. It is just, you are not for me and you are for someone else. And that's not a bad thing. And I don't mean that in a negative way. Another question I have for you.
Okay.
This is just going to be a long episode. I always say it's not going to be a long episode.
And we're
this is
going to
be like this is going to be our longest episode of the month. So have you ever talked to someone on a dating app where you kind of realize at some point, not initially, but you eventually realize that you've talked to them already? Has that ever happened?
No. I will.
Happened to me one time.
I'll actually go, because I was so limited on my chatting and stuff, because I would wait for guys to talk to me. And I was really only on OkCupid. I think I was on Tinder. I maybe did Plenty of Fish, but I really, honest to God, don't think I ever talked to anyone.
Plenty of Catfish. Yeah.
Plenty of Catfish. So I tried maybe Bumble, but that was back when you had to message people first as the female. And that was not me. Yeah. So I don't really think so. What about you?
So it only happened one time. And it was, I had talked to her when I first was doing dating websites back in the early, I think it was over Scout, where we talked to each other, and she lived in the area and we met, and it just wasn't, it didn't click. And about 2 or 3 years later, I see someone and I'm like, oh, she's cute. And like, I clicked on it and I started talking to her, and I think maybe as soon as she said like her name, or maybe it was something that she said that like struck a chord and like made me remember that I was like, oh, we've talked to each other in the past, like we've already talked to each other, we've already met. But I didn't say anything. She never realized this. And so I was like, okay, once again, kind of testing the waters to see if like we met in person again. I was just waiting for her to remember. Like, I was just waiting for her to just be like, have we done this before? We didn't go to like the same restaurant or anything. That would have been really funny. But I just remember sitting here thinking like, and this is once again, I wasn't negatively judging her. It was just like a thought. I was just like, has she met so many people on dating apps? Does she just like not remember me because of that?
It was like Samantha on Sex and the City.
Right. So it just reached a point to where you're like lapping yourself in the dating world, and you're just kind of like, you don't even realize that you're doing it. And it's like, I just thought it was really interesting that I'm like, I remember like just thinking the whole time, like, in any moment she's going to be like, do I know you from somewhere? Or you look so familiar. And she never did. And so finally, when I went back home, I messaged her and I was like, you don't remember me, do you? And she was just like, what do you mean? And I was like, we've met before. And she was just like, I know it's kind of like creepy of me to do that, but I was just kind of like, I wanted her to know that like, I know this. And I was just like, we met through Scout. And she was just like, when? And I told her like the year, it was like 2012, I think. And she was just like, no, I don't remember. I was like, we went to this restaurant, we talked about this, and this, and she was just like, I don't remember that. And I'm just like, wow, okay, it wasn't that long ago. So I was just like, okay, I think maybe you've lapped yourself and you don't realize it. But I just always thought that was kind of funny, just because it's just very stereotypical of someone that's just like, that lives on dating apps.
Well, I wanted to ask you, because this hasn't happened to me, but it has happened to someone we know. Have you ever talked to someone, maybe met them, and then like didn't talk to them for a while, and they message you back and you like don't remember who they are? I don't think that's happened to me.
I don't think so.
Because I didn't talk to that many. Like, I mean, I could keep track of who I was talking to, and I have I remember who I met with as well.
Yeah, I think if I met them, I'm going to remember them. If we just talked on the dating app and that was it, like, I'm probably not going to remember them.
Gotcha.
Like,
okay.
Unless like, no, I don't think I would. I was trying to think of like a way I would remember them. I'm like, no, I don't think I would if we just talked.
Yeah.
Unless there was something very memorable, like they thought I was gay because I cleaned my apartment.
Yeah.
All right.
Anywho,
let's get into this pilot summary.
Let's do it. We've already been going for way longer than you even thought we would. So
I know. Always happens. All right.
Always.
Fleabag pilot summary. We open to our titular character Fleabag at her apartment at 2 a.m. She gets a booty text from her crush known as Arsehole Guy. Fleabag breaks the fourth wall and talks directly to us, the audience. She explains how to properly prepare for a booty call. She patiently waits by the door and tells us that when you answer the door, you must act as if you forgot they were coming over, as not to appear too eager. They talk for a second, literally, and then begin kissing and head to the bedroom. Mid-coitus, Fleabag tells us that in order for a guy to want to come back, you have to give him something that they usually don't get. In this case, it's anal sex, which is why this guy is nicknamed Arsehole Guy. The next morning, Fleabag explains that the guy's role is to act as if they just had the best night of their life. He praises Fleabag for letting him do anal since he never gets to do it because of his large penis. He thanks her and leaves. Fleabag is left to wonder if she has a big arsehole, because that's now her concern, because he was like, oh, no one's ever been able to do that for me. That day while on the bus, Fleabag is a guy flirts on. Okay.
No, I'm just saying you're reading so fast.
That day while on the bus, Fleabag is flirted with by a guy with two very large front teeth. He is nicknamed Bus Rodent. After some flirting on both ends, Bus Rodent asks if Fleabag... After flirting on both ends, Bus Rodent asks Fleabag if she is single. Fleabag explains that she has recently become single from her on-off boyfriend Harry, one of the few characters on the show who's referred to by their actual name. Long story short, Fleabag and Harry are sexually incompatible. One night, he catches her masturbating to a clip of Obama and breaks up with her, packs up and leaves. Bus Rodent asks out Fleabag, who reluctantly gives her his number. He seems nice, but secretly there's just kind of something scummy about him.
Yeah.
Fleabag goes to the bank to get a loan from bank manager, but she doesn't qualify. When she accidentally lifts her sweater, the bank manager mistakes this for a seduction plan and dismisses her. Later that evening, Fleabag meets up with her sister Claire. Claire is uptight, judgmental, and is married to a wealthy American. Fleabag explains that they grew up without a mother, and their father was pretty absent throughout their life. He dealt with the loss of their mother by sleeping with their godmother and sending his daughter to feminist lectures. The two sisters spend more time bickering than they do actually talking to each other. Fleabag realizes she's wearing a top that Claire lost, quote unquote, lost years ago. Claire asks about the cafe, and we are led to believe that Fleabag needed a loan to keep her and her business afloat. She runs a cafe that people usually just use for free Wi-Fi and a spot to charge their devices. Claire asks if she needs money, and even though she does, Fleabag says no. After embarrassing themselves in the lecture by being the only women who raised their hands, after the lecturer asked the crowd if they could trade 5 years of their lives for the perfect bodies, they call themselves bad feminists, and Claire demands Fleabag give her top back. Later that night, Fleabag meets with Bus Rodent, who is actually very polite and isn't catching on that Fleabag isn't interested in going out on a date, but going to one of their flats to have sex. When Bus Rodent tells her he just wants to get to know her, she takes it as an insult and leaves. Fleabag shows up to her dad's house, and he doesn't really talk to her much, but insists on getting her a cab as long as she doesn't go upstairs. Fleabag immediately goes upstairs, knowing that she doesn't want her to interact with her godmother. We immediately see their dynamic. The godmother seems very sweet, but also makes passive-aggressive comments with a smile, so it doesn't seem mean, but it is. Fleabag sees a small statue on the shelf. The godmother tells her it's an expensive piece. Fleabag gets into a cab to go home. In a drunken state, she begins talking to the cab driver. She explains that she went into business with Boo, her best friend. She was wild, unpredictable, and loads of fun, but had a lot of emotional problems. One day, she tried to get her boyfriend's attention by walking into the bike lane, which led to her getting knocked into oncoming traffic. She died along with 2 other people. The cabbie is speechless. Fleabag then reveals she stole the expensive statue from her dad's house, most likely to get some money. And that's it. It was pretty, and I covered everything. I think the only thing is a little bit more detailed and more specific. Obviously, I just told the story in a couple minutes. This episode's 25, 30 minutes long, but I really loved it. I think we're going to keep watching it. It's a super easy watch.
Yeah, I really want to keep watching it.
But yeah, the cast is great. All of it is just very captivating. It's really easy to kind of get into. If you're not immediately invested, but this is one of those shows, if you're not immediately invested by the end of episode 1, just don't watch it. It really is one of those shows that you can probably watch in a day or two. So one of those series, that you can watch it in a day or two.
For sure, yeah. Over a weekend.
Yeah, so I definitely recommend it. It's on Prime Video. And yeah, so I think that wraps this up.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. That wraps up this episode. Thanks for tuning in. If you haven't already, go ahead and follow us on whichever platform you're listening to this podcast on. That way you'll be notified every time we publish a new episode. You can also follow us on Instagram at WeJudgePilotPod. We're also on Facebook. You can leave us a comment, suggest a show for us to watch, or leave some emojis in the comments. What you got?
All right. As usual, the UK flag. I have the award, the trophy because we had the whole Emmy talk.
Oh, yeah.
From the door, the restaurant, the phone for the dating apps discussion we had, the kissing emoji, the bed, the eggplant to represent arsehole's large member, the bus, the teeth emoji to represent the guy on the bus, the bank, the cash, the internet emoji, the Wi-Fi, a house, the cab, and the drunk emoji. All right. Well, we are going to head out, but we'll talk to you soon. Thanks for listening.